The sun descended behind the distant mountains, its golden light bathing the Jetavana grove in a serene glow. The Buddha sat beneath a towering Bodhi tree, its leaves rustling softly in the evening breeze. Disciples gathered around him, their faces eager for the wisdom he would share. Among them sat Ananda, a young father burdened by the weight of his fears. Ananda bowed deeply, his voice trembling as he spoke. Blessed One, I come seeking guidance for my restless heart and troubled mind. The Buddha regarded him with kind, knowing eyes, his presence as calming as still waters. Ananda, the Buddha began, speak of what weighs heavily upon you, and let us unravel the knots of your heart. My son, Blessed One, resists my guidance and defies my will, Ananda confessed, his voice thick with emotion. I fear for his safety and despair at my inability to protect him from harm. The Buddha gestured to the ground beside him, inviting Ananda to sit closer. Ananda, your concerns are rooted in love, but they are entangled with attachment and the illusion of control. The Buddha paused, allowing his words to settle in the hearts of those gathered. Consider the farmer. Ananda, he continued, his voice measured and steady. The farmer sows seeds with care, waters the soil, and ensures sunlight reaches the tender sprouts. Yet the farmer cannot command the rain to fall, nor can he dictate the growth of the plants. Rattan nodded slightly, his fingers nervously tracing the edge of his tunic. His chest rose and fell as he absorbed the metaphor. Attachment, dear disciples, is like a vine that clings to a tree, seeking to possess and control, he explained. But in its grasping, the vine stifles growth and hinders the tree's reach toward the heavens. He gestured to a small sprout growing near the edge of the courtyard. Fragile yet vibrant, love flourishes when freed from expectation and selfishness. Mindfulness, Ananda, is the key to entangling the knots of attachment and embracing the impermanence of life. The disciples leaned closer, their breaths held in anticipation of the Buddha's teachings. To practice mindfulness, the Buddha instructed, observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, and recognize their transient nature. His voice was a soothing balm, each word infused with compassion and wisdom. Understand, Ananda, that impermanence is the essence of existence. All things arise and pass away, like waves upon the ocean. Life includes rain for flowers and also seasons of drought, he answered. His voice carried the wisdom of generations. Parents shelter children in ways preparing them for rain and winds without losing roots in earth. Ananda, to love your son is to nurture him, to provide him with the tools to flourish, he said. But it is not to bind him with the chains of your desires or the shackles of your fears. The Buddha gestured to a flower blooming near his feet, its delicate petals reaching toward the sky. Behold this flower, Ananda, he said, his voice filled with reverence for the simple beauty before him. The flower blossoms because it is nurtured, not because it is controlled. Its growth is its own journey. This is love's courage. The disciples exchanged glances, the air around them charged with quiet revelation. Buddha leaned forward slightly, his attention still fully on Rattan. Unconditional love, Rattan, is not diminished by the world's trials. His words were a symphony of wisdom, echoing through the grove and settling into the souls of his disciples. In letting go of the illusion of control, you create space for growth, for both yourself and your beloved son. But how, Master, can one cultivate this love when hardship tempts the heart toward bitterness and despair? Buddha's smile widened slightly, his countenance radiant with hope. Begin within, Buddha said firmly, his words carving a path through the fog of doubt. Blessed One, your words have lifted the veil from my heart and opened the path to peace, he said. The Buddha rested his hands upon his knees, his posture a testament to the serenity that comes with enlightenment. Understand it is part of your journey. Buddha's hand gestured toward the surrounding gardens, where flowers blossomed in a riot of color and fragrance. The sun had long set, the stars emerging to adorn the velvet sky. As the disciples departed in quiet reflection, Ananda walked away from the grove, his heart lighter than it had been in years. The teachings of the Buddha, like seeds scattered upon fertile soil, began to take root within him. The grove of Jetavana stood as a sanctuary of wisdom, a place where hearts were unburdened and souls were uplifted. "Master," Rattan whispered, his voice trembling with newfound clarity, "I see now that love is not a barter, but a gift of the soul." Buddha nodded, his approval a gentle blessing upon Rattan's spirit. Another day, another gentle dawn broke over the Jetavana grove, its light filtering softly through the ancient Bodhi trees. The Buddha sat serenely in his customary spot, his presence as steady as the flowing river nearby. Disciples gathered once again, their eyes filled with reverence and anticipation for the wisdom he would impart. Ananda, now older and wiser, approached with a heart full of conflicting emotions. "Blessed One," Ananda began, his voice steady but tinged with apprehension, "I seek your counsel on a matter weighing heavily upon me." The Buddha inclined his head slightly, his expression as calm as the tranquil surface of a lotus pond. "Speak, Ananda," he said, his voice carrying the gentle authority of deep understanding. "My son, Blessed One, has grown into a man and desires to journey far from home," Ananda said. "I have imparted to him the lessons I have learned, yet I am consumed by fear for his safety." The Buddha gestured to the river, its waters flowing unceasingly toward the distant ocean. "Ananda," he began, "look to the river and find the lesson it offers, for it holds the answer to your worry." The disciples turned their gaze to the river, its endless flow reflecting the light of the sun above. "A river does not cling to its waters, Ananda," the Buddha explained, his voice resonant and clear. "It allows them to flow freely, trusting that they will find their way to the boundless ocean." Ananda's brow furrowed as he pondered the Buddha's words, his heart seeking clarity amidst the current of his emotions. The Buddha continued, "To love your son, Ananda, is to nurture his roots but to trust in his wings." The afternoon sun cast a warm glow on the serene surroundings. As a young woman named Maya approached the Buddha, her steps faltered, her face marred with anguish, carrying the burdens of betrayal. "Ananda, fear is a shadow that obscures the light of wisdom and the power of faith," he said. The Buddha reached down, lifting a handful of sand from the riverbank and holding it gently in his palm. "If you hold the sand tightly, it slips through your fingers, Ananda," he said, his voice rich with meaning. "But if you hold it gently, it remains in your palm. And so it is with love." He gestured to the flowers growing nearby, their delicate petals unfurling in response to the sun's light. Even these blossoms face the trials of wind and rain, yet they bloom nonetheless. Maya lowered her head, struggling to hold back her sorrow. "But how does one continue to love?" she asked hesitantly, "when trust is shattered and the heart feels broken." Buddha's gaze remained steady, his voice unwavering in its wisdom. His disciples leaned in closer, their breaths held as they absorbed the timeless truth of his teachings. "By observing your thoughts and emotions without judgment, you learn to see them as passing clouds, not fixed realities," he said. Ananda bowed his head, his heart filled with gratitude and the stirrings of newfound strength. The Buddha placed a hand on his shoulder, a gesture of reassurance and solidarity. She nodded faintly, absorbing his metaphor. "True love, Maya," Buddha continued, his tone soothing yet firm, "is eternal. It shines not to be admired, but to illuminate." He shared the story of the king who received two gifts, a magnificent vase and a humble clay pot. The vase cracked and shattered, but the pot remained steadfast, offering water to all. Buddha's eyes searched Maya's face, seeking the seed of understanding beginning to sprout. Ananda, the Buddha said, his voice firm yet gentle, the greatest lesson you can offer your son is the example of your own life. The disciples nodded, in silent agreement, their hearts resonating with the profound simplicity of his wisdom. By walking the path of mindfulness and compassion, you illuminate the way for those who follow, he said. The river's gentle murmur seemed to echo the Buddha's words, a harmonious accompaniment to the unfolding of his teachings. Love, Ananda, is not a chain to bind but a current that carries us toward the boundless ocean of understanding, he said. His gaze swept over the gathered disciples, his words a timeless message for all who sought the path. Maya wiped away her tears, her hands trembling as she found the courage to speak again. Master, your words have brought clarity to my turmoil, she said softly. Love must not be tethered to expectations. Buddha inclined his head, affirming Maya's reflection. The river flowed on, its waters a living testament to the enduring truth of his teachings. The disciples sat in contemplative silence, their hearts and minds illuminated by the light of the Buddha's wisdom. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, casting its golden light upon the Jetavana grove, the disciples rose. Ananda bowed deeply before the Buddha, his gratitude a river flowing endlessly toward the ocean of enlightenment. Blessed One, your teachings have shown me the path to peace and the strength to trust in love, he said. The Buddha rested his hands upon his knees, his posture a reflection of the serenity he embodied. Buddha's smile conveyed his blessing, a silent affirmation of her determination. The sun sank further behind the horizon, casting long shadows across the monastery. Maya remained seated, her heart lighter, her resolve to love unconditionally renewed. The disciples dispersed slowly, each retreating into quiet contemplation of the Buddha's teachings. Maya bowed deeply before the enlightened one once more. Master, thank you for guiding me through this darkness, she said. The Buddha sat beneath the venerable Bodhi tree, his presence a beacon of serenity and wisdom. Disciples gathered eagerly around him, their faces reflecting the reverence and anticipation they felt. Among them was Ananda, his hair now grayed, his demeanor tempered by the passage of years. Blessed One, Ananda began, his voice filled with both gratitude and longing. I seek your wisdom to calm a void within me. Maya stood near the river's edge, her hand brushing against the gentle currents. She felt a subtle shift within herself, the beginnings of a deeper understanding she had not known before. Let your heart share what troubles it, so we may find clarity together. My son has grown into a wise and compassionate man. Blessed One, Ananda said, his voice tinged with melancholy. Buddha's teachings on love remained a guiding force for all who sought its truth, illuminating paths toward compassion and connection. Another day, another breeze rustled through the monastery, carrying whispers of new lessons under the shade of the Bodhi tree. Ananda, the Buddha began, your feelings are rooted in attachment, but they also hold the seed of liberation. The disciples leaned closer, their hearts and minds eager for the truths the Buddha would unveil. Consider the tree, Ananda, the Buddha continued, his voice as steady as the earth beneath them. The tree does not mourn the loss of its blossoms, for it knows they will return in time. Ananda's heart stirred as he absorbed the Buddha's metaphor, his yearning for understanding deepening with each word. The love you have for your son is a blessing, the Buddha said, his gaze unwavering, but attachment turns blessings into burdens. His words resonated deeply among the gathered disciples, each one contemplating their own journey of love and attachment. To release attachment, the Buddha instructed, is to embrace the impermanence of all things and the boundless potential of love. Ananda nodded, his heart beginning to grasp the profound depth of the Buddha's teachings. True generosity is an offering from the soul, Unshackled by resentment or fear, he pointed to the Bodhi tree above, its branches swaying gently in the breeze. Ananda, the path lies within you. For liberation begins with understanding the nature of the self, he replied. The Buddha gestured to a lotus blooming in the nearby pond, its petals unfurling toward the sunlight. Behold the lotus, Ananda, he said, his voice as gentle as the breeze. It emerges from the mud, yet it remains untainted and seeks the light. The disciples observed the lotus with quiet reverence, its beauty a living metaphor for the journey of the soul, the self. Ananda is like the mud that clings to the lotus, the Buddha explained, his words flowing with clarity. It obscures the light, yet it can be transcended through the practice of mindfulness and compassion. Ananda's heart felt lighter as he began to understand the impermanence of his feelings and the truth of his existence. Unconditional love expands this circle, encompassing all beings without exception. But Master, Devak spoke again, struggling to reconcile his frustration with the Buddha's teachings. How can one expand this circle without feeling drained? Buddha's expression remained serene, his voice unwavering in its wisdom. The circle grows wider when nourished by compassion and humility. He gestured to the sun slowly, descending in the sky, its rays reaching across the horizon. To release the illusion of self, the Buddha said, is to discover the boundless peace that lies within. The disciples listened intently, their hearts illuminated by the light of the Buddha's teachings. Devak nodded faintly, absorbing Buddha's metaphor as he sought to mend his weary heart. My child, Buddha added, his tone inviting reflection, do not measure the impact of your generosity by the gratitude of others. Just as you have let go of control over your son, so too must you let go of the illusion of self, he said. Ananda bowed deeply, his gratitude pouring forth like a river finding its course. Master, he said softly, his voice tinged with newfound clarity, I see now that true generosity is not tethered to the response it receives. Buddha inclined his head slightly, affirming the merchant's reflection. Ananda, liberation is not the absence of love, but the realization of its infinite capacity, he said. The disciples sat in contemplative silence, the truth of the Buddha's teachings resonating deeply within their hearts. The grove of Jetavana, a sanctuary of timeless wisdom, bore witness to the unfolding of their souls. Ananda walked away from the grove, his heart lighter than it had been in years, the Buddha's teachings blossoming within him. Master, your wisdom has opened my eyes, he said gratefully. I will strive to expand the circle of compassion within my soul. Buddha's voice carried one final teaching, his words a thread to weave through Devak's awakening. Love, like the river's flow, nourishes and transforms when offered without condition. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.